And breaking news that's coming in a day after Mehbooba proposed Ramzan ceasefire, army sources tell Republic TV that the operation to restore law and order will continue. Now let's also go across to Snehesh Philip, who's joining us live on the story. Snehesh, very clear words where the army chief is mincing no words. He's saying we'll fight Azaadi, we will not continue and we will not allow terrorists to enter. Now, a day after Mehbooba proposed Ramzan ceasefire, army sources tell Republic the operation to restore law and order will also continue.
Absolutely, Rhythm, and the army chief cannot be more clear than what he has already said. Now, he's made it very clear that there is not an option for Azaadi, and the stone pelters and the people who've picked up arms in Jammu and Kashmir should understand this loud and clear. It's not that the army, when the army goes in for an operation, it should be remembered that the first choice of the army is asking them to surrender, is to catch them alive. It's only when the terrorists open fire is when the army retaliates and neutralizes the enemies of the state. But yes, the army is of the clear opinion that the operations will continue. The operation to ensure that law and order is maintained in Kashmir will continue. The army chief had last year made it very clear that stone pelters would be treated as overground workers of terrorists. Now, I just heard a gentleman saying that stone pelting is a way of protest. I'm sorry, stone pelting is not a way of protest. Stone pelting is nothing but just another form of terrorism that is being perpetrated at the behest of the Pakistani establishment. Rhythm.
Absolutely. This is an ultimatum, Snehesh, he's given to pelters. This is an ultimatum the army chief, in the strongly worded message he's has given to pelters. There will be no Azaadi. He's clearly stated in full force here, we will not allow people to disrupt operations. He's also said we will fight those who are asking for Azaadi. For the first time, and he's very clearly stating here, Army Chief's strongest ever message on intent here, very clear here, Snehesh. There will be no such sort of talk about Azaadi here.
Absolutely, Rhythm. Remember that people in Kashmir will have to remember and understand that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. It is a part of India. It's one of the most beautiful states in India, and it will continue to remain part of India. So there's no question of Azaadi of anything of that sort. And if people do pick up arms against the state will respond. The state can be ruthless when it responds to people who pick up arms. But yes, if the army chief has also sent out the message saying that give up your arms, the entire focus is for the youngsters who picked up arms, misguided by the Pakistani propaganda, to leave their arms and join the mainstream. At the same time, the army chief has also said that the military is not the solution in Kashmir, but for that there will have to be talks. The law and order has to be maintained.
That's right,
the politicians will have to take the first. The politicians will have to take the first step is also what the army chief says. But when can the politicians take a step? When the law and order is maintained. And when can a law and order be maintained is when stone pelters and people who picked up arms against the state are strongly dealt with. I think that's the message that army chief is sending out loud and clear.
Snehesh. And the question is, Snehesh, the question is that the army chief with these words is demolishing the Azaadi charade. Can appeasement continue here is the question. It cannot continue. He's clearly saying appeasement will not continue, and these apologists need to stop doing so. It's the most powerful declaration of the army chief ever. India backs its army chief. Republic backs its army chief. Azaadi and other things will not be allowed. In fact, let's also go across to reactions and phone reactions that are coming in on the phone line as well. We have Colonel Soumitra Roy is joining us on the phone line. Colonel Soumitra Roy, the first and the strongest declaration from the army chief here. This is an army chief who's ready to take on the apologists and ready to break the charade of the stone pelters and the terrorists and this Azaadi gang.
Absolutely right. This kind of army chief is required much before. And what the army chief has said is absolutely correct, and I support him fully because I have had the operational experience in 1989-90 there in the valley. We had taken that kind of strong stand, and that's how we could sort out the problems there at that time. Now, this is already now the army.
That's right. And like like we're being told by our guests as well, the point is the strongest ever message. This is a message going across to everybody, and this is in the backdrop of stone pelters going ahead and going ahead and attacking school children, killing a 22-year-old Thirumani. We were there in Chennai when those people were shattered. India was completely outraged at what happened. This strongest ever message by India with Army Chief clearly is a message to terrorists, clearly a message to the Azaadi gang and the apologists. This will not continue for too long. India stands with the Army Chief.